Hey
Hey,
Isaac,
what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us.
Oh man, I appreciate you even having me here.
So we do this to basically give people new ideas and creativity from all over the world.
Uh,
Scopio has artists in 150 countries. So we wanted to bring you on and learn a little bit about you, what you're working on now, what some of your dreams are. I'd love for you to start by sharing like a little bit, a few minutes about who you are, where you grew up, and then we can jump into some of the stuff you're working on.
okay. Well, who I am, man. Isaac Brady. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. One of the more prominent civil rights areas that people know of that
Hmm.
area. I grew up in a small town, though, 20 miles out of Birmingham, Alabama, which is Utah, Alabama, which nobody ever knows. So, so I say Birmingham because that's where I really put my feet down in the ground. Um, I'm an artist. I've been for about 10 years, just like searching different ways to be creative, different ways to handle my expressions of art. And over the, I guess, last 10 years, I've been from doing music all the way to doing photography to videography and
Hmm.
cinematic stuff as well. So my footprint has been all over the creative sides of the world. Um, yeah, that's pretty much who I am. So I'm a photographer day in and day out right now. So I kind
Yeah.
of tread around in those areas of photography and videography. Um, and that's really where I lie at right now.
And what are you working on now?
So right now, specifically, I've just been working on the clothing line. I have a site up on my page. It's called The Most High. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts now.
Nice.
Uh,
I'm wearing one of my shirts too for Scopio.
hey, that's what it's about, man. This is just the start, though. So about a year ago, I had a conversation with God, and I just started treading towards the route of being more spiritual and not super religious. And I hate to kind of throw that on you because I know everybody like don't talk about religion, but at the same time, it's a strong background for me. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I come from a small town. I got six brothers.
Nice.
And like when I say that I was the youngest, so I had to learn from them. Which I'm not gonna say that I learned everything from them because in actuality I didn't really grow up with my brothers. I kind of grew up by myself
Mm-hmm.
um, with my grandmother in Utah. But yeah, so I grew with spiritual life and just spiritual growth, and I'm still growing. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just the same as you. But
Mm-hmm.
it just led me to this scripture in the Bible, Daniel 7:18, and basically it's saying in the end time, whenever the world's over with or whatever, we'll return to the Most High. And throughout the Bible, it sprinkles that, in there. And that's why I've been pulling a lot of my creative thoughts and a lot of my processing when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to photography, videography. Like now, I kind of sit back and if it's not on that level, then I don't really go towards that direction. If you
So how do
kind
you
of get what I'm
qualify if it like give me an example?
so um So I like to do representations of stuff, especially from my hometown or like when it comes to photography. And I'll show you one.
Mhm.
I think I sent this in to you as well.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
can you see it? I don't know if you see it.
Yeah.
But this is a picture of a playground, right? But it's also a picture of a cemetery. Um, and I did this photo a year or so back, or maybe 2 years back. But when I say that, I'm just saying that, that picture depicts, you know, the youth and the future, past
Mm,
and the future. So when I look at it now, it means a lot more to me spiritually, because some people are spiritually kids, other people are spiritually, like, grown. You know what I mean? Like they they're a lot further than others, but it's a
mm,
median in between those two, where you have to, coexist with yourself, your friends, and then the people you lost in the past. So I lost my mom in 2011, and
yeah,
that kind
sorry.
of changed me as a person. It kind of made me look at a lot of different things differently, but I was
Mm,
still immature doing it. And now I'm at a age where I'm not gonna say how old I am, but I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm 29, right? But at the same time, I'm at an
yeah.
age where I'm at the beginning, but it depends on how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? Because I've learned so much stuff over the time where um, it's taught me how to grow, but I already thought I was grown. You know what I mean? Like, when you turn, I
Mm,
mean, especially for people like me that come from a small city, little background, if any, it's 4 streetlights where I'm from. You know what I mean? So uh, I'm in Dallas, Texas now.
yeah.
So to go that far, to make it this far, it's a blessing from God, and it's just like, man, I'll get amazed with it, because I look at all of the people I met over time, and then
Mm,
it's like, oh snap, like God put them here for me to grow, and I thought I was growing at the time. So
mm,
when taking this picture, and even going back on the picture, it just shows me that it's always room for growth. It's always room for more, and that picture, it is a representation of where I'm
mm,
from, because every time you go to that city, you see this specific area. You may not like notice it, but you see it. And I guarantee you, anybody that's from this area see this, and they're like, "Oh, yo, I know where this is. I know where this is from." So, appreciate that. What is that, dude? My honey, appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, peace and love all over there. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So,
So
yeah.
how did so being like connected with this higher purpose or like uh the most high, how do you find or work on things that actually matter to you? Like obviously there we live in the real world. But
Yeah.
as an artist, how does that guide you to be able to work?
Um. Honestly, like, when I look back at all of the stuff that I've done in the past, the photos that I've sent you and stuff, to just show what type of artist I am, um, it's sort of like I live it. I live it day to day. You know what I mean? And I'm a young black man in America. I mean, I know a lot of people are maybe tired of hearing that, but I mean, like I said, I come from 4 street lights. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and my mom and dad wasn't there all the time. So, to see where I am now, and every time I take a picture of something, right? I'm like imagining the stuff that the people before me went through. So that's why when I say, this picture right here is a representation, is because somebody was here before,
Mm,
and the chains of the swings, it reminds you of something. Even if it's about civil rights or anything, it reminds you of that. And you really don't want me to get started on that area,
I
but
do. Keep going.
okay, all right. So, like I said, I come from Birmingham, and that's a civil rights district.
And now you're
Really,
in
it's really
Dallas.
just a civil rights. Now I'm in Dallas. So
One of the biggest cities in the world.
yeah, so when I look at how the world depicts civil rights, and not even civil rights, black people, compared to how black people depict, how we treat each other, and then how we set examples for each other. You know what I mean? It was someone that set an example for me, so I could know, all right, I got to do bigger and better things, compared to what my brothers did, compared to what my mom and my dad did. I got to go beyond, because I'm not even working for my generation no more. The photos and stuff, this stuff right here, a lot of people haven't seen this. It's not. It's sort of like not for them to see though, because I want the generations to come to be able to look back at this documented work. Let me show you one more. I'm pulling this stuff off of my wall. All right, so
Yeah, it's awesome.
this one right here, right?
Mm. Sad.
It's this is history, you know, but
Where
at
is
the
that?
same time, this is in Utah, Alabama.
Is that the
So
same place as the other photo?
at the same place as the other photo.
I got you. I see the cemetery in the background.
So even with saying that, right, it still looks like that today. This isn't an old this isn't an old picture. You know what I mean? Like, this is a new picture,
Mm.
but it looks old. And when I do my photos, and I try to like line up different avenues together, when it
Mm.
comes to civil rights, or when it comes to just like history in general, we
Mm.
all have been taught so backwards and inside out that we think that, oh, like, all because they live in a small town, that they can't go places or they can't experience the same stuff. But this all was in my head growing up. You know, it just set the tone for me to even go further with this series of photos. All right, so
Mm.
this was one, and this is two. Right,
Mm.
I'll show you another one. All right, so that was Utah. Like I
Alabama,
said, that was Utah,
not Utah, the
Alabama,
state.
not Utah, the state. Right, so shout out to everybody in Utah that rocks with me, because I guarantee you they probably not even on here, but
You're like the
hopefully,
celebrity.
yeah. Well, I don't even know if it's celebrity. I'm just from there. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
just gonna keep it at that. But
Some somebody's also asking you a question here.
who resonates most with a civil rights leader?
Is there anyone today, or you just looking, or you look to the past?
Oh, I would probably say in the past, because man, they've been stolen from us. When you think
What's been
about
stolen?
um, the leaders, they've been stolen. MLK, you know, um, Fred Hampton. Man, the list goes on. I mean, think about all of the prominent black men. Let's not even talk about. I mean, salute to the black women out here that's still pushing, because the vice president wouldn't be where she is if she didn't keep pushing. You
Mm.
know what I mean? But when you think about people like Malcolm X, right? I mean, the media portrayed him as like super crazy, like didn't understand
Mm.
logic, but he changed. It was something about him that changed over time after all of his radicalism, right? After he was super radical, he changed like instantly. What was that made him change instantly? His
What?
connection with God.
Mm.
And I feel like so many
Is there anyone today that you admire?
Angela Davis. But I mean, I'll say Angela, because like she's from Birmingham. You know what I mean? And she really, like, when I got ready to graduate from college, I started studying because I was putting pictures together. You know, I was looking at like, man, what if I put this image connected to this image and make it into a series, and how would that make people feel? Would you think that you're in the same spot? And that was really the big thing about these photos I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show this one now.
What does
I don't
that
know if you.
say?
So this is an actual slave quarters in Birmingham, Alabama.
Hmm.
So it's like a house. It's a house.
Does it say that?
So on the picture, it says Wilson Raiders. So it's just their headquarters. Anybody want to look it up? They can look it up. It's over there in on Cotton Avenue, near Cotton Avenue in Birmingham, Alabama. Um, what made me take a picture of this though is because I was shooting in 35 millimeter film,
Hmm.
and I started noticing similarities to the textures and tones of everything. Right, when you look at these photos right here,
Hmm.
um, they're black and white, but when you start looking at the buildings and you start thinking about the history of everything that's been going on in America, you start noticing things. Um, it's really not a place for kids to play. It's really not like homey fun. It's really not. Um, and I just was on a journey to figure out, what is it that I could, leave an imprint on that can last for a long time. Because I don't know if they're going to keep this up, this area up in Birmingham, Cotton Avenue
What do
for
you feel about
ever.
that? Do you feel like it should be there for history, or do you feel like it should be removed and like let's move
Man,
on?
nah, it should be gone. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we were slaves. It's not gonna happen again. Not in that term. Like, not like
Right. You think all these
that's
buildings and all like all the history, we should just remove it so we don't see it. So how can we remember it if we don't see it? Or you feel like it's just such an interference in our daily lives? Like you don't want to take a walk and walk past that, you
well.
know?
See, the problem is you don't want to take a walk and walk past that. Then also you think about this is space for someone to should be living in. It's homeless people everywhere.
Yeah.
And then this isn't even open for the public to go look in.
Mm.
I'm taking from the outside of the of the fence, you know what I mean? And it's so funny because the school I went to was UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham, and
Mm.
me and my a couple other classmates, we were like riding through. We're like, all right, we're gonna go and take pictures here, right? And then like right when we like got our gear out to take photos and stuff, like this family, this couple, I'm not gonna say what they were, but we can imagine. And they're like, oh, we said, oh, we're going to take pictures. And they were like, not over here. So immediately in my mind, I'm thinking maybe they don't want us to take pictures here because nobody comes back here to see this. I mean, like these were buildings like, let me see if I got another picture.
I mean, it looks like the White House in that picture.
Exactly. So when I say that, it's like buildings that are colonized. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like you got the columns and you got the big front yards, and then in the
Mm.
middle of this was like a a, a, a bowl, right? So on the outside were houses, and on the inside were trees.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? So when I thought of that, I was like, these mother these mothers are literally living into, I don't know if they just have this for fun, or they have all of these trees in the center of everything for a reason, but they're looking down on the area though.
Yeah.
Looking down on trees that are taller than their house.
Were they the homeowners?
It's hard to say, but yeah, they were. They were. They had to be. They had to
Yeah.
be. So because they were sort of, when they said what they said, they pulled into the driveway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we may have been like right in front of their house, or it's kind of hard to not be in front of anybody's house, because if you're in the valley of it, it's
Mm.
trees and stuff, and then at the top of it, it was more of homes and
Mm.
those style houses. But it
So
just
what do
made
you
me.
think is like we have a question here. What do you think, like being from a historical place, where is like history, where's that place for it to know what happened? But then also obviously people live there and they want to move on with their lives. And so what do you think should happen?
Uh, in honesty, I don't think anything subjectively should happen, like they should move out or anything like that. But it's just they made it unavailable for me as a creator, right? Like
Mm.
as someone that creates photos and documents, like
Mm.
I'm documenting history. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I've never seen nobody take photos out there, even if it was a creative style or doing a project style stuff. So it just made me like wonder. All right, maybe onto something when it comes to this particular style of photos, and
Yeah.
just the whole theme of what I was trying to create. So yeah, so I ended up taking another journey downtown Birmingham, and I have you tried accent? Yeah, so we did ask, could we take photos there? And they said no. They was like, no, not over here. So we just, we respected it and we left, because by that time I had got my shots of all the houses. So, I mean, I was just quicker than they thought I was. And,
Mm.
but anyways, I went downtown to Birmingham, near the 16th Street Baptist Church. And I was in hopes to connecting all of um, this theme together of, like I wanted to show what Birmingham had in a sense, because like I said, I wasn't from Birmingham as well. So it was sort of like me learning, all right, this is where I can go, this is where I can't, you know what I mean? And so I took this photo. All right, it's saying my battery's dying on my iPad. But anyways,
Oh no.
so I took this photo.
And tell people what that's about. Where is this place?
So this is a 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama.
Hmm.
This is where the four little girls were bombed. Uh, Man, this is where I figured out. I always knew who Angela Davis was. I knew who Angela Davis was the whole time, but like I never really like put my thoughts together of like what did she really do, like what is she, I knew who she was, but I didn't
Mm.
know exactly the type of pain she had. I didn't know it, you know what I mean? But I found out because I went to I think it's called Enon Ridge. That's in Birmingham, right?
Mm.
That's where Angela Davis lived at. Also where the four little girls lived at as well. So they were neighbors.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were neighbors. And that's what made me like, you know what, I have to take a picture of this because she is a revolutionary, and when I look at the type of stuff that I've done, like I had a art event in Birmingham called the Art of Protest. So
Mm.
this event allowed students in my class to protest whatever they wanted to. And it sort of made me feel as if I was empowering the people.
Mm.
Not necessarily saying what they're going, I didn't care what they protested. I knew what
Yeah.
I was going to design and say and feel about everything because I had went around the city and found out for myself. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't rely on school. School didn't teach me none of this. Like, that's
Yeah.
what's so crazy. Like, I would have thought, growing up in a city where, 100% of the students at my school were black, that they would teach us about black stuff.
Or just teach you about your local history. Like literally what has happened within 10 miles of me.
Exactly. So, what's so crazy about it is when I found out all the information about Angela Davis, like I sort of wrapped my mind around it like for months and maybe like close to a year worth of
Mm.
just like I was so kind of in her mindset, like man, it makes you infuriated to know that she was neighbors to the four little girls that were bombed at this specific church by KKK members,
Mm.
people that probably out of jail right now because that's the type of society we live in. They can do whatever they want and they're free.
And what this how did you decide to take this shot? Like why did you shoot this specific part of the building?
Because this is what everybody remembers.
Hmm.
It says everybody knows 16th Street Baptist Church. I
Hmm.
mean, I guarantee you nobody, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but if you mention four little girls, you'll think 16th Street Baptist Church.
Hmm.
That's where it happened at, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, it's a sad story, it really is. But I wanted to be able to
So
document
what
stuff.
so why did you leave? Why did you go to
Uh,
Dallas?
growth, growth. I ended up. I feel like I fulfilled everything I needed to do. Like
Mm.
I'm from Alabama, born and raised, and I've never lived out of the state.
Yeah.
I've never really. I mean, I traveled from here to there every summer. Thanks to my grandma. Uh, but when it comes to like actually going somewhere and not knowing anybody, that's sort
Mm.
of like the thing that I had to deal with all my life. So it wasn't like scary to me or nothing like that because
Mm.
as a teenager, I moved with my grandmother. I didn't know anybody.
Mm.
When I
So
was
what can you
going,
do as like I mean, you're like displaced. You're in this new place. You have this very like historical place that you're from, that you grew up, that you feel very connected to. You want to tell the story there, but you're not there. There's so many people like that around the world where
Mhm.
they want to help where they're from. They want to shed light on that. What can you do as an artist?
I think take more photos. That's one thing that I've like over time. I've learned that no, if I shut up and I take a photo, it'll talk for me.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times, like I didn't even think that this series was going to come out like this. I didn't think that I would be displaying this to you, or to the world to even see. It was sort of like a
It's so hard without the story. Like when you tell the story with it, to me, it's like, oh my God. And
yeah,
imagine how many visuals just slip your eye. But that
yeah.
storytelling piece is like so
It's
important.
yeah, it is, and over time, I feel like that once I put all of my work like together, and I've had a chance to present it as well. Um, you know, in a art exhibition as well. But
Mm.
it's sort of like
Have you
it
done any
was
video work there?
what in Dallas.
No, if you go back to Birmingham, like I know you shoot video. Do you have anything
Yeah,
maybe
so
walking people through this?
not specifically walking
Not
people through.
yet.
Not yet. Yeah, that's a good idea. Uh, but I think over time, I'm going to get around to like talking about it a little more. I think that this does open up that thought process of like, actually, all right, look, you got these photos, say something about it, right? You
Yeah.
know, because a lot of my friends from back home, they definitely know these areas. I mean, like they would know they would know specifically where these pictures are from, where the world has to kind of think like, oh, where does he take these photos from?
Yeah.
Where did
I
he
mean,
get
it
this?
shocks me how people have goldfish memory. Like, there's
Oh
literally
yeah,
no memory past like 1 year. I feel like nobody remembers anything. So you have to like beat your head against the wall to just
yeah,
have people pay attention and remember so they get it. So there's
yeah,
like so much education that's needed. And with obviously your fresh perspective and imagery, people can like start to really see, but otherwise, you're stuck with these pictures that are 50 years old, and
yeah,
that's in your mind. That was a long time ago, you know?
yeah, and that's another reason why I represented this to you. And putting it back out there because I know
Mm.
like deep down that even when it comes to like music and stuff, people have to hear it twice, three times for them to say, "Oh, this is tight. This is what
Hmm.
I want to listen to." So I feel like the more and more I keep pushing it out there, the
Hmm.
more and more people will like, "Oh, I remember when he did this back then. This is what he was talking about."
Hmm.
And even with, it's 2021, right? And we still deal with the same problems as that they dealt with,
Yeah.
the same problems. So I just look at it as, the more and more people know about it, the more and more people will start. I'm not even going to say wake up to it. They're going to understand that, all right, this is why this guy feels this way. This is why he carries
Mm.
himself this way. This is why,
Mm.
he's always talking about progressive, what I'm saying, or moving forward or doing
Mm.
something more positive. Like I'm a completely different person than I was taking this photo, but I
Yeah.
can tell you that this photo still represents who I am.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
yeah, that's really the
Well,
biggest part of it. Like,
do you have any advice for others that are feel the same way that uh, feel like they really want to do something and help and bring like history? I guess I don't even know how to say it. Uh, it's almost like even showing your identity, like you're
yeah,
showing your history, but you're also showing this is who I am, like this is where I'm from, this is what's going on. Because for those
it is
people that are in, like I
American.
had a photographer from Zimbabwe today, you
Uh,
can't talk about the government even, you know? So like
oh wow.
yeah, what do you suggest for people?
Um,
I mean, you seem super curious,
just
like you're always looking around, trying to understand. That curiosity is so
yeah,
important.
I think that for up and coming artists,
Hmm.
whether whatever medium you want to use, right?
Hmm.
Just do it. Like, don't worry about if your friends like it. Don't worry about if your girlfriend like it, your wife or whatever. Because at the end of the day, you want your happiness. You know what I mean? And so many times we fall, short and think that, oh, I gotta make sure this person likes it. I gotta make sure that person likes it. Well, we're not. Don't worry about them. Keep creating,
Hmm.
because over time, this is a testimony. Because over time, it will be appreciated. Because you reached out to me and was like, "Yo, I want to do this with you." I wasn't thinking that this was gonna happen. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I appreciate it. You know, I really do appreciate it because maybe someone, a kid from back home, is looking at this and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, he came from nothing, and now he's up to something, even if it's small. You have to think small but big, big then small, because you want to reach the person next to you, but you also want to reach the person on the screen, on the screen that's watching.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's amazing. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. And are all those photos you said they're on Scopio's site for people to be able to
Uh,
see?
yeah, I hope I do it. Did I have to put that on there? I mean, I really appreciate you guys reaching out to me.
Of
Um,
course.
I think that if I could say one thing that you know, one thing that you could take away from this is, I would say keep God first, and everything else will fall up under it.
In that spirit, thank you and good night and God bless.
Peace. God bless.
Bye.